All right, it is 6 p.m. and I am opening the very special August 10th, 2023 meeting of the Rutland Conservation Commission. That's who this group is. I remember now. Everybody who's going to be here is in the room. Nobody remote. We are on Zoom. We're being recorded and broadcast. We'll be rebroadcast and put up on video services galore.
Leah does it better.
I'm sure. Leah could do it. She's on Zoom right now.
I know, that's why I said it.
So you should come sit down here. It's all right.
She likes being above us all.
Like
She is above us all, so.
Sleeping on camera.
The purpose of this meeting tonight is to interview our candidate for conservation agent. So what I thought we'd start with is a quick once around the room. I'm gonna start with me, go this way around. Hey, Austin.
We gotta be good tonight, right?
Well, you know, everyth's relative.
Yep.
Something we said.
I did, however, promise him that we would
I
show
won't
him
hit
how much fun this group is.
Okay.
He doesn't want to sit near you, Scott.
Nobody does.
So, I'm Peter Crane. We've met before. But
Yeah.
some of you may remember Brianna,
Yes, she came in.
Yes.
and she helped us out for a little bit and then ditched us completely. It's fine. We don't
Yeah.
mind. I don't.
No.
So it's like grandfather, great grandfather.
My name's Skip Clark.
Scott Langren.
Glenda Williamson.
Joe Delacour.
Hi. I'm Brianna. You could just call me Bree.
Bree?
Bree.
And then in the
Not
back,
free, but Bree.
in the back of the room is our town administrator, Austin Saganowicz. You've already interviewed with him. I was supposed to be there, but I was sick that day.
Yeah.
So this is our first chance to really get this all thought through. I don't think this is gonna be a very formal proceeding.
No, it ain't gonna be.
Any of us who have questions will just sort of ask questions. Has everybody read the resume?
No.
It's slightly revised, but I have 3 copies. I didn't
Okay.
know how many people would be here today.
So why don't we have her tell us a little
Well,
bit
that's
about
exactly
herself?
where to start. Why don't you?
I read it.
Hey,
Thank you.
he's in charge.
Oh,
Did you want one, Peter?
No, I'm all set. Thank you very much. I've read it.
Very good.
Even if you don't have the most recent one, it's okay.
This is lovely.
So please, introduce yourselves to the group. Let's talk about your background and
Okay.
such.
Talking about yourself is so much fun.
Yeah. Doesn't make you nervous.
No.
Yeah, so I think I've met most of you before except for Glenda. I was helping out, but I didn't ditch the commission. I just lost contact with Melissa. That's pretty much what happened. But I've since graduated from my master's program, so I have my master's degree. The one update on my resume is that I am a certified stormwater inspector as of last Friday. I did that through the EPA, so.
Meaning,
I bet
that I can do like MS4 permits and
Okay.
I can do inspections and
Okay.
stuff like that.
again, it's a very big title, so it's like, okay, to what extent are you good at this? Or
I mean, I'm not a pro
Right.
by any means,
you have an
but
idea what you're looking at?
yeah, I have an idea of what I'm looking at and.
Interview over, done.
Well, and
Noble
I'm
Hill
also-
is coming at us soon. And
And-
its original plans are
she's
long
done.
expired. I
She's
know
done.
she is. But this group, we interrupt. I apologize, please.
No, it's
continue.
okay. No, but being part of the Certified Stormwater Inspector network, you get like monthly trainings all the time. So I'll get more experience as I'm part of the network longer.
Have you done any field stuff with that?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's just this past Friday, so
Oh, that's fine.
it's
Well, I didn't know
very
if part of it
It's
was
a
getting.
very recent update.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do have experience looking at culverts. I did that for 2 years in New Hampshire, not in Mass, but in New Hampshire. So I do have experience with culverts and stream crossings.
It was in Vermont, it didn't wash away very good.
Yeah, I know. Vermont has had a tough time recently. So right now I am the agent in Sterling, and I'm also interning with MACC, updating their bylaws and regulations spreadsheet. I was actually just looking at Holden's bylaws today. I know you're the agent there. I've been like,
Sorry.
Oh, no, she's not.
I'm like, oh my god, I want to meet Glenda, but which sounds weird, but it's cool to see other female agents and you're nearby.
Yeah,
But-
we're the best.
Yeah. And you're in planning too, which I have planning experience, so I think that's really cool. So yeah, I interned with BSC doing delineations for about 6 months, 5-6 months. That last year to this year. So yeah, I have a lot of GIS experience. That's kind of my forte, being that I'm a geography master's candidate. And yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty nervous, but you can ask me any questions you have.
You have no reason to be nervous with
No,
this crowd.
this group,
This
we're
group?
easy.
Doing awesome.
Thank you.
So you talked about specifically about SWIP, and did you say your delineations, so that's wetlands delineations you were doing, okay?
Yeah. I also did some construction site monitoring with them. So that's SWIP reports as well.
Right.
Yep.
If I remember right, were you actually a member of Princeton's Concom?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, still are?
I'm not.
No, okay.
No. I had a class in my last semester that just conflicted with their meeting time, so I needed to prioritize school at that point It was a
Students.
wetlands like ecology class, so
Right.
it was very important for me to do that. Yeah.
What were you involved in for permits in Princeton?
Just site reviews. I didn't submit any like I didn't write up any order of conditions or determinations. But in Sterling, I'm doing that. So I do that all myself.
What makes a good orders of conditions?
That's a good question. I mean, I think a lot of things are site specific. Sterling does not have a boilerplate, which I know a lot of towns will have a boilerplate. Sterling does not. So if that's something that Rutland does, like I would want to review that with you guys and make sure I understand your specific concerns. I think a good order of conditions is going to be very tailored to the project, but it's also going to have a spice, a little bit of you guys in there as well. And things that maybe you all have seen happen repeatedly, violations and stuff like that, so.
Questions I don't want to hog her time.
So how's your feeling against builders, with builders?
With builders,
Yep.
I don't have any negative feelings, if that's what you mean. I think it's important to have standards that you hold everybody up to. I definitely have like a pre-construction site list or site checklist that I use in Sterling. And regardless of whose site I'm checking, like they have to follow that. If you're not following that, you can't begin construction. So I would follow that same thought process here. Yeah.
No, just curiosity. 'Cause
Yeah.
Now, is that a
some people-
Sterling document, or is that your document, or?
It's a document that I adopted from the MACC website, and I tailored it to Sterling, but I could tailor it to here as well.
Are you a MAC member?
Yeah, definitely.
One fee we don't have to pay.
Yeah,
Right?
This time.
Right, yeah.
yeah, and since I intern with them, I can take all their courses for free as well. So, I mean, I've taken a lot already, but there are a few that I need to take. So,
I was gonna say, have you finished the foundation or L?
I need 104 fundamentals.
Oh, the fundamentals,
104.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one I need. But
Do you remember that one?
Yes, I took all of
I'm just
them.
asking if you remember.
Long time ago, no.
Yeah.
I don't
It was a
remember.
lot of fun.
They added a couple too.
They tell you about the grasses and sedges?
Oh, yeah, we took those
They still say it the same way?
plant courses. Yeah,
Sedges have wedges?
nice.
Huh?
such as much. I haven't
Weebles
heard that
wobble,
one.
but they don't fall
That
down.
was one of the things they drill on us at Mac.
Okay, what's the most controversial issue that you've run across in Sterling so far?
That's a good question. Not like what I've experienced here in Rutland when I've come to the meetings here. I can tell you that. The few meetings that I have come to here they've been interesting. I know that people get very fired up. We haven't had issues like that in Sterling. I have had an engineer who is very unresponsive with me that I'm still dealing with. That's not controversial, but that's kind of maybe one of the biggest issues I've dealt with there. A lot of people will go to Board of Health and get that permitting done, but they won't come to conservation. So I have to call up the applicant or call up the engineer and be like, you're within the buffer zone, you need to submit an NOI. And yeah, this engineer has just been very unresponsive. So it's been difficult. I've had to explain to the applicant, to the resident, like, this is why your project's taking so long, because the engineer is actually not responding to me. But it's been going pretty well. Anytime the resident has any issues, we speak. So keep them up to date.
So it sounds like you've grown accustomed to dealing directly with the public. Have you dealt with, well, I mean, I guess you just said that you do deal with citizens as well as we deal a lot with the wetlands people and the builders themselves, and more frequently not the actual citizenry. Until somebody has a complaint,
Yeah.
Yeah, like the owner, it's mostly the engineers.
usually, but it's not exclusively. But we will, part of this is being that point of contact, the public point of contact.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We get the most input from citizens at the very beginning of the permitting process on the large projects. And some of our citizens have made everybody jump through a lot of hoops. Which is good. I don't think that that's negative by any stretch. But we've ended up having to deal with DEP, DCR, Army Corps of Engineers, Indian artifacts, all kinds of things, and
Yeah.
it's usually because we've got a big project going on and you get enough abutters together and they can file, appeals and what have you. The project we're working on right now has been in the works for 20 years, over 20 years.
What project is that?
Bryce Lemon.
Bryce Lemon.
Bryce Lemon Estates.
Okay.
Well, not Bryce Lemon per se, it was Bryce
Started as
originally.
Bryce, has become Bryce
And
Lemon.
Lemon got added on to it, another piece of property got added on. So it gets, a little hectic when you get into that stuff. Things like decks and swimming pools and stuff, pretty,
Yeah.
snap done,
Yeah, simpler.
But some of the bigger projects, and the bigger projects are, of course, the ones that you're gonna have the problems with.
So how many projects are ongoing in Sterling right now?
We have a few. We're actually gonna have our meeting next Tuesday and we don't have any new NOIs. So it's gonna be a very short meeting. But we definitely don't have as many ongoing projects as Rutland does. That is for sure. The types of projects that we get in Sterling, there have been what do you call those, storage facilities, we have had those sorts of projects, but majority are septic system replacements, single family homes, a lot like Princeton. So here in Rutland, I know that there's a lot more like home developments and things of that nature. I've gone out with Melissa a couple of times to look at some of the things you would inspect at one of the like subdivision developments that we have in town. So I have a little bit of an idea of what I'm getting into when I'm doing site inspections. Not completely because I'm not doing it, but yeah, there are definitely bigger projects here in Rutland going on.
And probably more projects overall.
Yeah,
There's always
We're
something.
building a
Yeah.
lot.
The growth is
yeah,
something to behold.
yeah.
There, I'm gonna pick on a committee. The growth is unmanaged.
Careful.
I know,
Got the boss sitting down there,
it's not his fault.
I know it's not his fault, but
Like, we
He'll
never
get
asked-
blamed for it anyway. I
Yeah,
mean.
that's true, that's true.
What about, how familiar are you with the Wetland Protection Act? Like, just, I mean, the basic.
Pave it and paint it green, right?
You shush,
You don't have to pave it first. Concrete's fine.
you shush.
I think that I'm actually pretty familiar with it, especially given how new I am to the field. Just the amount of time that I have to review it to work with the MACC bylaws table and compare it to the Wetland Protection Act, it's a lot. I also have to review it in Sterling because I am learning, and so there are a lot of building permits that come through that really trigger minor activities. So I have to make sure that they're sticking to the specific guidelines in the wetlands or in the regulations really, so that they're exempt as a minor activity. So, I mean, I think I deal with it a lot with the minor activities end, but then also MACC is really helping me become very familiar with isolated land subject to flooding, riverfront, things like that. So, and I enjoy kind of reading it. I don't really mind. So
What do you do?
I'm not pro at anything.
I was gonna say, those are strange words. I enjoy reading the Wetlands Protection Act.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, in
Yeah.
short
Strange.
portions, it's not too bad. I wouldn't want to read all of it.
Spend a lot of time on the
It's how she
program.
goes to sleep at night.
Yeah.
That's why she likes it. She sleeps with,
What do you do, or have you ever run into a conflict or something that's not quite in sync between the Wetlands Protection Act and MACC? And if you did run into that,
Could you give me an
what
example?
what would you use as your guideline?
I
Definitely
don't.
the
What do you mean, like with the bylaw, are you talking about the
Well,
bylaw or?
I bring that
I
up
know
only
what
because
he's saying.
I'm not.
I have run into situations where Mac said one thing and the Wetlands Protection Act said another. My perception of Mac, and I took numerous of their courses, but Mac is somewhat biased in my estimation.
Okay.
They tend to go into areas where the Wetland Protection Act, which establishes Concoms, all right? Concoms have no jurisdiction. And I've seen that, I've experienced it in town here. And you always have those individuals that you're dealing with that will look for any edge they can get, to circumvent anything that you may want to, so.
Enforce.
It's a town of 8,000 people, I always say it's an 8,000
2,
population.
4. I'm just adding his house growing.
Well, it keeps growing, but 8,000 people, but we also have 10,000 wetland scientists living in town,
Oh, yeah.
okay? Everybody's a
Yeah.
wetland scientist. And they will attempt to bend and twist and interpret things to their advantage, whatever that advantage may be. And I'm just cautioning you that,
Yeah.
should you end up here, you will probably run into that at some point. We run into it almost every meeting, but
Like with residents, you mean? Like test?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people interpret Mac as law, where it's not.
Oh, okay.
That's what
now I
that's what
understand.
he's in. That's
Okay.
basically, yeah.
that's why I wanted to interrupt him earlier, but I wanted to see him stumble for a while.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think there could definitely be some confusion between what MACC puts out there and what's in the act and its regulations. But that's why we have an agent, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's why you
Right.
come to me and speak
Exactly.
with me.
Mac's a great guide,
Yeah, it is. Yep.
and that's the thing, it's a great guide.
Yeah, it's
And
not
you can
fact
interpret
of law.
backwards and you can interpret both ways, but it's
Yeah.
one of those, and that's kinda how, cause I was on and then I got asked to be back on, and I have no idea why, Peter. And,
Sometimes we're too stupid for our own goods.
and that's one of those that really became the stickler on some of the stuff.
Oh, okay.
And again, it's great, take it all in, and then, again, whatever she's gonna find, though, we're still gonna talk about. And so your biggest thing that you're concerned on is the actual sidewalks, to a point for you right now?
That I'm concerned with
You
in
did-
Sterling?
No,
or-
in here, because the scope of
Yeah,
some
what
of
do you, let's ask your question differently. What are you concerned with about taking on a job like this? I'm gonna ask that
working for
question.
you.
That's always number one, should be.
No, I think there definitely is a learning curve, and I think I will 100% experience that in Rutland. Even though I work 19 hours in Sterling, I have more time in Sterling, and there's less work in Sterling. If I were to be hired, I would have less time and more work.
When, just be positive, be positive.
Yeah, when
It's a
I'm hired.
subconscious thing,
No, I've been interested in this position for like a year and a half. It's been a long time.
right.
I really hope I'm hired. So I know that there's going to be a learning curve of dealing with the amount of work, so the workload, and then also the residents. I've dealt with residents in Sterling. I had a guy come in today tell me about somebody who was doing wetlands dumping. Very positive interaction though. He left very happy. But I know that in Rutland, I feel like things are a little bit more intense in Rutland because of the amount of building that's going on. But I think it's important to be open to the public and to empathize with them because they really care.
Right.
And if you want to, if you want to have a good relationship with people, you need to empathize with them a little bit and be open to hearing them. So as an agent, I would encourage people to come to my office and talk to me. I think that's a big thing, is having your door open. And I would be, yes, big on doing site inspections and making sure things are in compliance and speaking with my builders and my engineers and holding everybody to a single standard, I think is very important.
And a lot of the site stuff too, I mean, I'm available a lot, he's available a lot, and it's one of those.
We are a very active
Because
commission.
again, it's
Yeah.
one of those, that there's so much history on some of the stuff that people don't know,
Yeah,
that we've been around and we know, so we can give you, because I mean, some stuff's 20 years old.
Yeah.
And we can go, here's where this is, and this is why it's this way, and you're gonna go, what?
yeah.
So that's gonna help you, because otherwise, some of the stuff that goes on, you'd be like, this doesn't make any sense
Yeah, of
without the
course.
history.
Yeah,
So I mean, again, Peter's not bad with it, Joe and I have been around forever.
yeah.
Skip was born, Skip kind of came with the seal.
Skip's the youngster.
I'm the old man, see,
Yeah,
I'm only 18.
He's the youngster in the crowd.
So
Yeah.
so a lot of that stuff, when you get into some of these the bigger developments, is it's the history of it. And like those, because we're gonna see everything she's doing anyways, right? So you know what, we can give you some history, even Glenda, because she's new, she's like, how do you get there from here?
yeah,
On some of it, and she go, oh. So I gave her the history on some of the stuff that we've seen,
Yeah.
on some detention ponds that change, and she goes, oh.
that makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
but if you don't have that piece, that this change to that, you'd spin your wheels and go, I don't get it.
Some of the changes
Yeah.
are initiated outside of the Conservation Commission. You know,
Okay.
2-hour surprise.
Mm-hmm.
We went out and looked at a detention basin, we said,
You
wow,
stop-
there was all kinds of things about this detention basin not being able to expand, and all of a sudden it's,
Twice
Really big.
Twice the size.
times the size.
all right? and it-
Okay.
But it was a superseding order of conditions from DEP.
Oh, okay.
And DEP, failed to notify us of those changes.
Wow.
DEP, they treat everything as top secret and on a need-to-know basis apparently, but DCR is the same way. They're very stovepiped. You know, and to get information from them or get responses from them is difficult. But they don't hesitate to come and complain to us,
Yeah.
all right? And get us to do, you know,
Do their dirty work.
look to do the dirty work and do the, you know,
I have a
get
good,
into that fines thing, you know? And then when you look for their support, when you're in the middle of the process, they're nowhere to be found. They disappear. They fade into the woodwork. So, you know, they'll come in and poke the bear,
There.
and then they're the first ones to run away, and we're sitting there staring at the bear.
yeah, that sounds tough. I know Mia McDonald pretty well. I shadowed her in DEP, so,
This is past. I haven't had many dealings with Mia.
yeah.
She seems okay.
Mia's awesome. I love Mia.
Gary Dalmain is awesome. Right, the trouble is, DEP in Worcester has been cut on their budget but they do it to themselves. It's the leadership in Worcester that is doing it to them, all right? So now you got Gary Dalmain dealing with 77 towns.
Yeah, they
So
have
he doesn't get
big
to,
workload.
he doesn't get around very much. And when you do get him, you know, you gotta burn his ear while you got his ear. I mean, take full advantage of his presence. But that's one of the problems that we run into, and we probably run into it more often than most towns because we've got so much activity going on.
Yeah,
And we've got commissioners that are committed and very active.
yeah.
you know,
Or
so-
perhaps should be.
Well, the other biggest problem that Rutland has is, was 55% of the town's owned by DCR.
Yeah,
I mean, it just opens up so much.
yeah.
How much of Sterling is wetlands? Roughly, any idea?
Ooh, I don't know that. No.
Everything is not dry.
I think
But
I think
it's-
you can pick that up off the website.
Maybe.
I mean, it's a large amount. I know that we have quite a bit of DCR land as well, drinking water supply, so, yeah.
So what's your process for delineating wetlands?
Summer or winter? Cause it's a little bit.
That's a better answer than Peter was
good first answer.
expecting.
That's-
That's a good
Yeah,
answer.
'cause
We'll
it's a
start
little
with summer and then we'll
different.
talk about winter.
The way I was taught, so I took classes with Scott Jackson. I've taken some with MACC. I have a upcoming training with the U.S. Army Corps engineer in October, so that's upcoming. But I think the way that I've been taught is you locate where you know it's dry, you know you're not in a wetland, and then you go where you know it's wet. And then you kind of use plants to guide you. Plants are not gonna tell you where the line is. And then you start digging your holes and you start looking at soils.
And what's different in winter?
Well, you don't have your plants. I mean, you don't have your like leaves. It's not as easy to identify your vegetation. So, I mean, if you're good at your buds and your things like that, then you have it a little bit easier. But also if there's snow on the ground, I mean, there could be a whole bunch of things in winter.
I'll grant you that if there's snow on the ground, you're not gonna delineate.
Yeah. Well, with BSC, I worked during the winter, so we were delineating in winter. Yeah.
But no, she's not gonna delineate, she's gonna verify.
No, she's not.
She's gonna verify.
For us anyway, she won't delineate.
Right, she's gonna verify engineers things and argue the line.
But it's important
Oh, I
because
know.
ANRADs are good for 3 years, so
Oh, I know.
it's very important, I think.
Actually, that's another Noble Hill discussion we're gonna have, but
Hey,
not tonight.
Next Tuesday,
Yeah, there's tons of documentation on it.
right.
So switching to stormwater for a second, so you said you got the cert for the EPA's MS4. Do you have anything equivalent for Massachusetts stormwater?
No, I don't think, I don't know of a training that Mass runs for that, so, or else I would be on it, because I like to get certified in like a lot of things.
Well, that's the up and coming big problem with everybody.
That's right.
Oh,
That's something you should find out about, cause that's a whole new industry.
oh,
mildly deep technical question.
Okay.
There is a,
Mildly deep.
that's right, there's an NOI coming before the commission.
Okay.
There is no question, parts of the project are within the 100-foot buffer. I mean,
Okay.
just make it simple for wetlands. We're not gonna deal with streams and rivers, and God help us, beaches. There is a stormwater detention pond way over yonder that's well outside the 100-foot. Is that jurisdiction, is that stormwater detention basin under Concom jurisdiction?
As in, should we treat it as a resource area?
Do we have regulatory authority to approve or disapprove the stormwater design when that stormwater appurtenance is outside the 100-foot?
My initial gut reaction is yes,
Why?
because that stormwater, if we didn't have that detention pond, that stormwater would probably be affecting the resource area. And if a Concom can make a case that some sort of activity is going to affect a resource area, which runoff from a project would, then yes, we could make a case that that detention pond is under our purview, I would think.
Yeah, you gotta build a case, though, you gotta,
They don't, MIPA says it is.
what?
DEP, excuse me, says it is jurisdictional Concom. If any part of the project is jurisdictional, then all the stormwater is jurisdictional as well.
I could believe that, yeah.
That's why we've been involved in some of these things recently, and why we have to pay more attention. Why I needed to listen to Melissa a lot better a few months ago when she started pointing it out. But questions? Other
You gonna
questions?
put that in bold?
I should have listened to Melissa. Yes, I will. I'm texting her right now.
Silly black print underlined.
That's right. Bold, underline, italics, flashing.
I have a question. How are you with organization agendas, public meeting notices, legal ads, and timelines and all that?
I mean, I think I'm pretty good. I'm pretty organized. I have to do all those things in Sterling. I like to have my agendas ready a week in advance. And legal ads have to be, I have to send the legal ad in 2 weeks in advance of the meeting. So that way there's ample time for the public to be notified. And minutes, I like.
Doesn't it need to be published 2 weeks in advance? No, am I wrong? It's only published 1 week.
5 days.
5
5
days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll send it in to them 2 weeks in advance and they
Too many
usually
boards.
publish it like a day or two later, so people have a lot of notice. And then minutes, I like to do it like the next day, so that way it's still very fresh in my head, so.
'Cause
Minutes
that's a
for
big
what?
part of the job.
Well,
The,
we also
after
have a
the
clerk,
meeting.
so
You're not taking minutes.
No.
Yeah,
No,
that's a
no.
good question.
Yeah.
Would you still be, are you gonna be doing the postings and agendas and all that, or are you gonna completely step off away from Concom?
She's not leaving
She's not going
Concom.
anywhere.
Commission too. No,
it's, yeah.
it's at the commission's.
Oh, you can still stay as like our clerk?
No, she is staying. There is no.
She is the clerk. Remember, we just appointed her for the next year.
Oh, she's technically our clerk. Oh,
That's
okay.
right. She is our clerk.
Nice. So like,
This is our wetland scientist.
she'll be our, like, your secretary.
Right, well, sort of. I mean, I would expect that the conservation agent is responsible for more of the technical aspects of the job and as I've already said, the public contact, basically. But the administrivia would stay right where it is
Oh,
right
nice.
now. I also think that there's a lot to be worked out when we hire a conservation agent what things she does today that maybe should be passed on and what things should absolutely stay. And I'm thinking specifically about like the online EPA, all the form submission. I'm not saying that she shouldn't do it. I'm saying we need to have a discussion. I have no idea.
Right, okay.
Let it morph itself.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking. I'm absolutely not saying, let's take hours away from Tamika and give them to a conservation agent. I'm saying, we'll figure it out.
She's gonna be busy enough for
But she's gonna be busy enough as it is.
Exactly, that's just the educational aspect. I mean, education about Rutland
Yeah,
and all the projects that are going on.
but that's the initial ramp up,
Yeah,
you know, but even long-term,
even long-term, yeah.
I think, you opened up your comments with, Sterling had more time and less work.
Yeah, no, it's true, it's
So-
just the truth, yeah.
Not to scare you or anything, not trying to scare
Yeah.
you off, but.
But you got
I
less
think-
time.
I agree with Peter on that,
Yeah.
that we let that morph, let it grow
Yeah,
into.
I am not setting an agenda for that at all, no.
No.
Okay, so Brant, you're staying with Sterling also?
Yeah.
So this will be like your second. And
Yeah.
how many hours is this one?
10 hours a week,
Oh, okay. It's not too bad,
and then we'll see if that's enough.
how that goes.
Adds up to 40 hours every 4 weeks.
Wow, good.
Thank you
Good
for that.
multiplication there.
That's great, Joe. I mean,
Are you sure you wanna?
Well, it's, it's 20 hours of pay period then, because
Yeah, right,
oh my
exactly.
God. Stop geeking out.
other questions, other comments?
I would like to make a comment. There were two things that you said at the beginning that I 100% agree with. And I was rather impressed that you said them. All right, the part about open door
Yeah,
and the part about empathy
oh,
with the
cool,
public.
yeah,
All right, because I think a lot of boards sorely lack that.
yeah, yeah,
And most problems that you have, that if you just talk to the people and be nice to them, a lot of problems go away.
yeah.
Most people just want to be heard.
Yeah, exactly. They want to know that someone understands where they're coming from and
Right.
why they're worried
And that you're
Things like
available
that.
to them.
Yes.
You're
She hasn't met,
accessible.
she hasn't met Corey yet.
yes.
And that's very, very important.
I think so.
That'll
My-
solve that
My
quick.
business experience
Yeah,
taught me that makes things run so much more smoothly.
yes, I agree with that.
So
Yeah.
and I have to tell you, for someone as young as you, I don't know how old you are, but you seem to be,
Don't ask that question, Joe.
I'm not asking a question, I said, you seem to be younger than me. And
Guaranteed.
you don't, but to have that come from
A
this
young lady.
generation, I'm impressed. I have to tell you that.
Yeah, I just think things run smoother when you let people come talk to you, when they know that they can come talk to you and voice some concerns, and it's a really important moment of education, I think, as well. You can sit down and go over the regulations a little bit, not crazy in depth, but a little bit with people, and have them understand that the Concom works within certain constraints as well. We're not just gonna let people build anywhere. I mean, like, there are regulations that we follow that are from the state. So I think letting people know, like, what you're working with is super important, and it makes them understand the work that you're doing more, so.
Well, it also helps them understand what you can't do.
Right, and what you can't do, what your limitations are, exactly, yes.
Other questions? Anything else? Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I'm kind of curious, like, what are your biggest hopes and maybe worries about having an agent? Because it's the first
I
time.
don't have worries about having an agent. I think I have a vision for where I'd like it to go. And that's a long-term vision, not a short-term vision.
Yeah,
There are a lot of things I'd like to see get done that we frankly aren't doing right now. And I think picking up those pieces that we're not doing very well is one of the most important jobs to start with.
okay,
And because there's so much going on in town, that's a broad problem all by itself. Longer term vision, I don't want to have a deep discussion about that today because I still don't know that it's fully formed up here yet. I just have an idea of the kinds of things that the position can grow into to help the commission more. Part of it will also be interacting on the commission's behalf with the planning department and planning board. And to a lesser degree, the assessor's office of the Board of Health, but there'll be interaction among all the things the town administrator is talking about putting together into what he's calling a land planning office.
Yeah, you told me about that.
And I completely support his notion on that. So there is more there than we have historically dealt with. And so there's, one of my biggest fears is that 10 hours a week isn't enough. I just don't know how many orders of a magnitude too small it is.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone express hopes and fears?
I'm good.
No, I think we talked about that before, because we're still gonna be hands-on too,
Right.
so it's a combination.
Yes, this iteration of the commission is very active in all in the permitting process, very, very active.
Yeah. And even sidewalk stuff, a lot of it is
Yeah.
one of those, we still bounce around a lot.
The other advantage is we have two members that are also,
I know. Yeah, no, that's huge. Like, a lot of commissions
Two
don't have
professionals and
that.
one semi-professional.
No, but that's really awesome.
You're so mean.
You'll get used to Scott too, everybody.
Yeah, he's. Not just.
I was just gonna say much and
You're a little much.
leave it at that.
Yes.
Okay, anything else? Feel free, ask it, come on.
Thank you for your time.
You have
You're
something
great.
on your
Please
head.
consider me for the position. It was nice meeting you all. How'd that sound? Did I help you with that?
No, I mean, yeah, are there any like specific skills that you want your agent to have? Like, do you want them to have GIS skills? Is that something that's not so important to you? Or are you leaning more on stormwater?
Stormwater's gonna be the biggest.
Stormwater's gonna be a big issue, I think.
Okay,
That one of my big things has been that we don't do enough monitoring of active projects to make sure that they
Okay.
remain compliant.
okay,
We're reactive on a lot.
Yes, we are too reactive. We are not monitoring actively enough to make sure that things aren't heading down the wrong path that's going to be disastrous for us in the end. So I'd like to I would prefer that we start getting to the point where we are that we recognize what's happening and we take action as we need to prevent some of the problems that occur. We won't prevent all of them.
Perfect example for this year is 56 project. Here's
okay.
been an issue. And then back over Bryce has been an issue. But it's all due to 20 inches of rain.
Yeah, the amount of rain.
So this is an exceptional year and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, like in a year like this, I'd like to, like, for somebody like you, I'd be like, okay, you know what? At least once a week,
Right,
you're just boots on the ground and you're going through them. Even if there's not any complaint, it's look at this, look at that. And it's not a long time, it's up and down and look.
yeah,
And that's kind of one of those, the boots on the ground, because we react to more of them.
yeah,
And that's the type of stuff that,
I think initially that would consume more of her time than anything else.
I think so.
right.
so compliance is a very
Right, and it's not,
big
and it's not,
deal.
and it's not to try to micromanage a project, but it's
Yeah.
more to go, hey, by the way, when they did X, they took out 50 feet of silt fence, and it's open, and it's gonna rain for 3 days. You think you might wanna put it back in?
Right, yeah,
It's not to try to make it harder for anybody,
right,
that's not our job, and that's not our intention.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you put it back, then we shouldn't have a complaint. And
Yeah.
when stuff does fail, stuff fails, I'm sorry, it happens.
yeah. Okay, yeah, I
And
got
that's
that
one,
idea.
and that's one of those, I mean, that's, and like they said, that's, that 10 hours a week for some of this stuff, like a year like this, would be tough.
Yeah,
But again, like, to those two projects, for what's active on them, I mean, Bryce, you're talking a mile. You're talking a mile and a quarter here. it's not a ton, you don't have to put boots on the ground on the whole thing. There's spots you're gonna get out and look.
Yeah.
But there are going to be places in town where
Yes.
even though they're small projects,
Yes.
the builder is not as careful as he should be for our wetlands concerns.
Yes.
And how do you deal with that when a builder is not as careful? I'm just
I mean,
curious.
we
so-
haven't issued C&Ds, we've come close a couple times, but we haven't issued any. Usually, for most builders, it's hey,
Right.
usually it's all it takes, so they know somebody's watching and that they need to also watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of that too is it's because of their own failure, that they're not monitoring stuff that gets run over.
Okay.
And it's not our job to monitor the whole thing, but again,
Right.
it's kind of one of those, we have a good relationship with most of them, that it's one of those, hey, you might wanna fix this.
I don't think we have a bad relationship.
I said we had a good relationship.
No, it was kind of, I heard an input and imply
No, we have a good relationship,
with all of them, I think.
yeah.
I'm gonna stick with most of them, we have very good in fact, I think most of them we have very, very good relationships.
Right.
There are a couple of relationships that are not as
Right.
positive as I would prefer.
Right.
Not that it matters.
And again, I also don't wanna look over everybody's shoulder all the time either.
Right.
Cause again, that's really not what we should be doing either.
Right.
That's a waste of your man hours, cause that's what they're supposed to be doing it. But
Right.
the heads up of, hey,
Yeah.
That could be a simple phone call. I mean, it's-
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's good for builders to know that there is the possibility that the agent might come.
Yeah.
And it keeps them a little bit more like upright, like, okay, we have to do things right.
yeah, but even, I mean, we have such a good relationship with most of the builders that, I mean, we have an open, just go walk and look at it.
Right,
So that's pretty good.
absolutely.
It's not, hey, we're announcing we're coming, they go, just go look at it and
Most
tell
of
me
it
what.
was carte blanche as far as.
Right, so it's not a biggie,
Yeah,
and that's also why it goes both ways. And you go, okay. So I'd rather tell them before it becomes a problem.
yeah, absolutely,
When you get to the third, tell them, then it becomes a problem.
Right.
yeah.
And you'll pick up that pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that with each builder, I will learn them. I think that's a very big part of doing the job and dealing with the same people over and over is that you learn them and you learn like what you have to do to make things work for them. That is, I think, huge. So, and that takes time.
It does,
It
it
just
does.
takes time.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
When you interviewed with Austin and Melissa, did they talk to you about organizational issues? Questions, I mean.
I don't think
So
so.
I think the thing to understand is Austin is your manager,
Oh, okay.
but your day-to-day work comes from the commission usually through the chair.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was not discussed,
Okay.
but that makes sense. Okay.
So, okay, never mind, no, never mind. I answered my own question.
Great.
You're very efficient, Skip.
It's good when that happens.
Yeah, once in a while it does.
Sometimes you're better
So
off.
Peter's your base, like your boss. What?
Committee's getting,
Okay. Anything else for anybody else?
I live in Princeton. I live very, very close. So
That's
this
good.
job is very easy
So
for
it's a
me to
good
get
commute.
to. It's a very easy commute, which makes it very easy for me to be at all the meetings as late as I need to be. So I just want
That
to
was in
put that
fact a
out
question I
there.
forgot to ask. Will you be available on our 2 Tuesdays a month
Mhm.
cycle? Okay.
Yeah, so I spoke with Matt Marrow. I work with him very closely in Sterling, and Sterling can change their meeting dates so that way I can be here during the 2 Tuesdays
Okay, great.
if I'm chosen. So
Does Sterling meet every 2 weeks? Or twice a month? Or-
yeah, so they've been doing once a month for the past 3 months, but I think in September, October, they might amp it up depending if we get more projects. But
so which side of Princeton you live on?
I live near Holden. actually. I live on Worcester Road, very close to the Holden line. Does that locate you? Okay.
Fox
I'm not
Farm?
from Mass. What?
The Fox Farm, you know where that is?
No. Where's that?
It's the end of Brooks, Ball Hill Road and.
Yes, okay, I live near Ball Hill Road.
All right.
Yeah. I live very
Is that
close
the
to the
name of
barn.
the farm or like foxes live there? Is that a stupid question?
What?
Is it literally like a farm where foxes live?
No,
Or is it like
no,
that's the
it used to be
family's
called the
name?
Red Fox Farm
Oh,
back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Where they lived until they were kicked out for farmers.
I guess so. Maybe raised foxes, I don't know.
That's the house that's real close to the street as you head toward Princeton Center on the right side.
Oh, okay.
The
Gotcha.
old farmhouse with a big barn in the back.
Oh, okay.
She has no clue.
No, I don't.
Just yes.
I'm just thinking
But-
she's gonna drive past there tonight just to find out.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just gonna act like I know. I don't know.
Good job. Sorry, Skip.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
it
you
was
very much
awesome
for coming
talking
in.
with you.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Now, was it so bad now talking to us? You were so nervous when you first came in? And
Oh, I'm still a little nervous. My nerves don't dissipate until a while.
I was nervous once.
Once.
You
I
want
didn't
to,
realize it was just a coffee.
Alrighty. When do you guys think I will hear back?
well, after you excuse yourself,
Okay.
we will be having a discussion.
Oh, I meant like in a week or 2 weeks.
I expect you will know within a week.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Alrighty, well, thank you again. It was
Thank you
nice
very
seeing
much.
everybody and meeting
thank you for
all.
coming.
Thank you for coming in, Melissa. Bree.
Melissa.
I don't know where it came from. I can't add that.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, you too.
Night.
Better get far enough away. Okay, so she is the last candidate standing. That doesn't mean we must hire her, but I didn't feel right continuing to advertise an open position when we basically closed it. We had another candidate who got a job somewhere else, so he dropped out. So I think we should have a discussion what we think about having this young lady as our conservation agent.
We can train her
We can train her.
to our
She
way.
sounds fine.
No, teacher.
Teacher, oh, sorry.
I think she's teachable. I think.
Yes,
She's smart.
Yeah, I think she's.
She's
good.
smart. She sees both sides of a lot of it. You can see that already. I mean, it's even like that. That's why I just popped out like that whole thing, the Mac thing. That's the easiest statement. It's the wrong statement, but it's the right statement.
Right.
It's a great guide. But again, she agrees it's a guide, it's not a law. And that's huge. Because again, there's a lot in there. And it's a great thing to come back from.
It's a foundation.
The foundation. The site stuff, I think, especially that, I mean, I should have more time soon again. I'm kind of bored with what I'm doing, so I might make some more free time. So I think getting her on some site walks and stuff will get her up to speed. And the biggest thing on that is just teach her the history of town, the history of projects. So that'll
She'll
be
get to know the people.
yeah, but again, it's one of those, there's a lot of pieces to this town that people don't know.
What are your concerns?
I'm not overly excited about the lack of experience, but she's very energetic. The stormwater stuff, even though she doesn't have the mass one, is huge. And you know what? She'll go get the other piece. If she
I know,
can,
I think she will.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
so.
because that's an industry by itself.
She won't have any problem getting it.
Well, besides, it's one of those. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I don't want to say that. I mean, that sounds like a terrible statement.
I think she'll do
For
fine.
anybody we ever hire, it's always a crapshoot because
Yeah, I mean,
except well, that's-
Everybody shows up on their best behavior.
exactly.
huh?
No, but she seems like she'd
Applicant
be
for a
really
job,
good,
I
don't you
mean,
think?
show up with best
Oh, yeah.
behavior.
I think she'd be fine.
No, yep.
Yeah, I think she's gonna have a little bit of a learning curve at the beginning, which is not unexpected.
Well, the thing is, we don't even know what we do and we don't know what we're using it for. So it's kind of one of those. We're learning and she's learning.
That's right.
Yeah,
But that's not a bad mix, because that will let us morph into what you want the job to be. Whether she can stay with it or doesn't stay with it is a whole nother story.
Yeah, she hasn't had time to establish a regimen of what she thinks it should be.
Well,
You know, and that's, I think, a
That's a plus.
positive, because, how are we gonna, we can't even tell her.
but we're gonna learn his position together.
That's also true. I don't wanna call it my biggest, but a concern of mine is she doesn't seem hugely outgoing, and I don't know how she's going to do with direct conflict.
She doesn't have to do it all, though.
At some point, when she's in her office, and
Yes.
somebody comes in angry about something,
I think she's gonna be fine for her one statement. She says, I have no problem explaining to a point.
right,
That was a huge statement.
yes, it was.
It's because it's some of the stuff we've just gone through again, and it does this, and it's like, okay, you explain to a point, and then guess what? You know what? If you have any more than this, we'll put you on an agenda for a meeting.
Yeah.
And give her the fallout of that, which she should do, because again,
That's true.
some of it, again, she's the agent,
Yeah,
and
she's
I don't
not
want, I
making
don't,
a
want-
decision.
I don't,
She's not the one gonna make.
I don't want to say, I mean, because there's no power people on this board. There are none.
What?
Anyways, nothing. But one of those, so I think she'll be fine with that. I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
Mhm.
And I mean, again, her biggest thing will be general public. And I don't think it's gonna be an issue, because she can go, yep, put you on an agenda we'll get you on an agenda for a meeting. It's no different than whatever, she's just got first layer of information that she's giving. I mean, she gives it already, a lot, she points out a lot of it already.
Yeah.
And that, so you go, okay, if she's handing out the same thing but in person and she's actually the agent, it has a little more teeth.
And we also have concerns of anything.
No, it's like I said, what I told her.
No, I like her. I
was
think she's
impressed
good.
with the,
I think she'll be fine.
I think for, in person, I hate to say it.
I was in fact very, very impressed
She did-
when I saw the MAC thing come out where she was named. That actually really impressed me.
You know what, though, she impressed me more now when she came in, now than when she first came in, she was just
Oh, yeah.
bouncing around for us.
But she's already got, this is her background, she has a lot of stuff.
It's all book stuff, she needs the feel part.
But I
The
mean,
feel part we can help with.
this is good, it's not like she came from a totally different field.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? She's got,
Right.
she's getting agent experience
you
in
think?
Sterling.
I think she did all right. She answered my question, my biggest question
You
that I
answered your own
had.
question, though, we can't hire you.
I know it. I mean, we're gonna give her a set of guidelines anyway that she's gonna go by.
Well, we're gonna learn together.
Yeah, but I
Should we
mean, she's
call her
gonna,
I'm gonna call her references.
No,
I know Matt,
you can't, who put you,
but I'll be talking to Matt tomorrow
who
anyway.
made you a god? Peter didn't tell you you could do that. He's your boss, remember?
We can call her references.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Are you
whoa,
gonna?
Whoa. Austin will do whatever reference checks are required.
Oh, Austin,
Yeah,
oh,
he's the supervisor, he's organizationally her boss.
Right.
And so and by the way, he's chief human resources officer of the town, it's his damn job.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Can we, shh,
Well, yes, but
can
no.
we vote on it?
Well, that's what I was going to do, I was going to
I
ask.
make a motion, we vote on it.
Oh, vote on what? I'm going to ask for a motion to recommend the hiring of Brianna, what's her last name?
Eagle.
Thank you.
so moved.
As our conservation agent, and the town administrator should pursue that hire.
So moved.
second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Clock eye.
Langer, nay.
Williamson, I.
Don't lie.
Crane, aye, fine, I'm making unanimous.
You didn't have to, you know. You
I know I
have to.
didn't have to, but I was going to say no.
She came out better than I was
I thought you
expecting.
came out pretty good.
She came
Better
up
than,
well.
I mean, honestly, better than I was expecting.
Can I say Murphy, I too?
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, the one with the God complex.
Me?
Yeah, you sit
Remember-
above us all.
Yes.
She's in charge of everybody, so.
Yeah, you sit above us, you're on that cloud up there.
Tell my kids.
Just remember,
I
she's
wish
got the
they believed
boss's
it the
ear.
way you guys do.
Yeah, again, I think it's gonna be interesting. Cause we're still gonna, we said that when we were first going with one, we still wanna be hands-on.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we're gonna try to be hands-off like some places are that,
No,
that she's
no.
interpreting.
I don't think this commission has never wanted to be hands-off.
No.
So I
one-
agree
one
with
set
the
of eyes-
notion that we get to train her to our way, and
I
then
know.
other people are gonna have to adjust to our way if she goes somewhere else.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, it's like that, I mean, it kinda blew my mind that Sterling doesn't have a boilerplate. I mean,
Right.
why wouldn't you make your job easier and have a set
Yeah, I know,
X?
that's weird.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
they
was
just use the standard conditions in the order.
She said, no, but that'd still be a boilerplate.
Right,
Hey, you remember,
We
there was a
added-
time when we didn't have.
We did that.
that's right.
I think Peter was younger then. You were
I
new,
was-
we were new when we were doing that.
Actually,
Actually, Peter wasn't
yes,
even on the.
I wasn't even on the commission
Yeah.
at that point.
How's that?
All right, is there any other business before the commission? I'm trying to make Becca happy
okay.
right now. Anything else?
Oh, can I say anything I want now? Commission wise?
Is any other business before the commission?
Did we get anything on 56? On their.
Not yet, but we know they're available, so I'll get them.
By Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they have any plan on recovering all their crap?
That I don't have information on yet.
Who'd you ask?
I haven't yet. I didn't ask that question because I forgot about it. I'll ask tomorrow.
Thank you,
People will hear.
thank you.
See, now, if we had a conservation agent, could have just sent
That's right, it
that.
wouldn't be waiting for me to find time to do things.
Gonna lighten your load.
That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, when we rode over, what day did we go? Thursday?
Yeah,
When
Those
we-
two Main
right?
Street places?
Those
yeah.
two main streets, we saw them, because, didn't I send you an email or I forget to push send?
No, you sent it, I saw
Okay,
something.
To the one that I sent.
Right.
And then so I'm sending something out to
Okay, because I thought I had pointed it out when we had went last Thursday, I said, hey, there's two on Main Street because I think they.
Oh, I don't remember seeing that in
I might have forgot to push send, because I know I sent a couple pictures or I sent a couple things from over there.
Okay.
And we rode
I
by
haven't
and
seen
both of us did one of these and went, didn't they have a solid marker that it was a no-no zone?
We would have had them.
Oh,
be-
they are, there was a no-no zone on those, and they're definitely in it.
Those are very
Okay.
tight yards.
So we had seen that.
it would
I
be in the
did-
original order of conditions on
Yes,
those.
it will.
Yeah, they're still
When we went over Thursday, I mean, I'll bring it back up again, Tuesday. But they hadn't added to the drainage piece. I talked to both Clay, Tom, and Julian and said that was a request with a big nudge. You lucked out the first time. They're like, yeah. So I will go over before the next meeting. If you want, I'll grab you.
Great.
Because I'm sorry, that's just an extra layer of protection.
Oh, yeah.
For nothing. Okay.
Actually, I was kind
Oh.
of surprised at how fast things were accomplished up there after meeting with Gary.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're talking, just a question, again, we should bring it up Tuesday or here. They're putting all the storm drains in here.
Okay,
Should they be putting socks in? Because they got all the sidewalls open.
you mean on 56? Then I will ask Tracy that question.
Just because, I mean, they're gonna be digging a lot of dirt and they got a lot of open grading
There's a
going on.
lot of open still.
And it's one of those, you got all new drains and you know where it's going.
I thought we were gonna tell them to do that anyway.
We had told them to do it over here. We told Clea to do it if they're gonna do it right by.
Oh.
But over here, they're starting.
That was Bryce Lemon.
That's Bryce, but they're starting,
Oh,
but over
that's
here,
right.
they're starting to cut the hills back
Yeah, okay.
on all the new drainage and you're going, I really hate them
Now.
because every,
Hauling.
Yeah.
They're filling that truck.
right,
That
because
off-road
it's one of those, there's so much open
Mm-hmm,
that I go, everything's new.
right.
I mean, everybody hates socks because it's such a pain, but by right, I'm sure, by
We
right,
know-
it probably
We
should
know
be.
exactly where every one of those storm drains
They're
is gonna
literally
go.
supposed to have those in anyway.
It gets fuzzy when it's owned
By the
Because the
state,
SWIP
by,
though.
yeah.
the state thing and all the other stuff, it gets fuzzy,
I
but
thought they
this,
would be in there for sure.
okay, everybody hates them, there's too much maintenance to them. I
Right,
understand.
every town job, every city job, they're always in there.
I'll ask Tracy about that. I'll let her sort of guide that.
And especially it's one of those, I mean, again, there's so many, you go, okay, you really don't wanna bust stones, but you go, especially with active grading. When in those spots, they should have them until they're stabilized.
Fine. I will do that
crazy.
contact tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, they're little things, but I don't wanna see this go sideways again.
Okay.
Okay.
You should try right down Palmagussit and take the left onto Miles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a lot narrower.
Awful.
It's a lot narrower now.
It has to
And it
be
was.
I don't like
state
how they,
guideline.
why did they do that to
No,
that turn
I'm talking
though?
on the curve.
Yeah, yeah.
It's narrow, it's narrower than it was.
It's state code.
And there's a
It's like
telephone
It's like a
pole.
drive, well, all the poles are coming out.
Okay.
Telephone poles in the middle of the
Yeah, all
road.
the poles.
You gotta sit and watch the tractor trailer
Mhm.
going up
Oh,
to
yeah,
that
that'd be
road, trying to
very
get
fun.
through
Oh, my
there.
God.
Next to impossible.
Maybe we can get rid
And
of that.
Devereaux has tractor trailers going up there with their supplies, their food and what have you.
Yeah, develop those as houses.
That I can't understand at all, why that would be narrower.
Because it's
And on
a,
such a sharp bend like that, you got a long truck, he needs space. And there ain't any.
So the poles are coming out, are they gonna,
yeah, they're all coming out. They're waiting for Verizon.
Yeah.
There's more pavement going on, that's all temporary.
Verizon and Spectrum.
so what are they
Those are the
gonna,
last two.
just move the poles or what?
The new ones are already in, they just have to get the wires relocated, and then they can remove the old
They've
poles.
already.
Power's already done.
Power, but they haven't.
And not only is power done, they cut the tops off so you can't put power on the old poles anymore.
Oh,
Right,
okay then.
so, okay. I think that's it.
Okay.
The poles went really quick, you know, and getting the power transferred over
Yes.
with next to no interruptions. So I was impressed with that.
Well, you sleep 18 hours a day.
Well, you know, you get to a certain age, you remember how it used to be done and you go,
Okay.
No.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Second, clock eye.
Langer and I.
Yes.
Crane, we're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.